Reverend Therese, the minister here at Unity Spiritual Center. And so grateful again for all of you who are here, grateful for all of those who are tuning in and who will watch us later and all of that. So how was the week? Are you experiencing freedom? You get to choose. You could have a firecracker life, or a sparkler or a captain type of moment, or you could be afraid. And so that's why we changed the last line, that today we're not afraid. Because fear comes, Jim talked us, I guess I should get my notes out. Jim talked to us last week about fear. Thank you for covering me while I went and had a little bit of minister renewal. Actually, it was an excavation, and it's taken all week to recover, but it's good stuff, right? So Jim quoted Marianne Williamson by saying, when we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically then liberates others. So think about it. When you were a kid, I was 8 when I learned how to ride my bike, and the moment, my dad let the back of the bike go and you're riding, right? You guys are probably learning to ride bikes. It's a fabulous feeling of freedom. And I was screaming, of course, I'm always loud, down the alley in Oak Park, Illinois, and then of course I wanted to raise my hands up. He's like, keep your hands on the handlebars. Keep your hands on the handlebars. So are you getting excited about life? We get to choose. When we watch the news, what happens? Whoa, there's so much going on everywhere and in the whole wide world. And I'm not saying not to watch the news, but I'm asking for you to put on different glasses when you watch them. Just like when I teach Bible, I tell everybody to get on their 2,000-year-old glasses, because that's how old the Bible is. And then what we get to do is we get to figure out today, how are we going to live from the choice of freedom? So on July 4th, 1776, the Declaration by the representatives of the United States of America said lots, and here's a little bit that I want to share. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, today we would say people, are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator. We don't say what the Creator is, because everybody has an understanding of what God is. And I love that they call it Creator here. Within certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So 4th of July is a holiday about the freedom of religion. Not freedom from religion, of religion. So that's why we have to have tolerance and understanding and try to figure out, what does everybody believe? Like this young lady, or I don't know how old she was, the lady, that wrote me. And she just believes that I am so wrong in what I'm doing. And I hope I'm not causing her a lot of pain. I won't flatter myself to do that. And I appreciate that she was able to write. However, I don't believe that. I believe we are here as children of God to be happy. And it is a right of ours. Happiness comes from what we do, who we're with, and all of that. Eric Butterworth would say it's a state of consciousness. So what I know is every week when you're here, this is our message, quite like the Declaration of Independence. However, what we know is some people never know in their whole life that they have a right to happiness. So I hope today you hear otherwise, and that you start making some changes, because it's really all about the choices we make, seriously. And we know that by what we saw today in praying with Jim and with Penny, in circumstances that could really be tough. And there's others of you going through some of those situations as well. And that's why we say, give it to God. And that means letting go. So cut all of the little strings that are attached. Well, I'll give this much, but I'm going to hold this much. And we do that dance. It's called the cha-cha. And that's okay. It's okay. So every single one of us has these rights. Let it sink in. So all of y'all who don't have red hair and freckles, you all have rights too. Right? Because growing up in my family, My parents were red hair and freckles, so we all are. You know, imagine that. All of us running around and we look so different than others. So what? We still have all the same rights because it's not what we see with our eyes. It's what we feel in our hearts. This just happens to be the vessel in which Therese Donlin-Lee has come to this example to be here expressing God in this moment. So unity allows us to walk with our heads held high in alignment with the principles of the Declaration of Independence. All people are divinely made. All people. All people. And I go as far as saying all cats and dogs, all animals, all rocks, all trees as well. That's a, talk for another day. But if because God created everything, then guess what? It's all great and good. All of us get to pursue a life abundantly filled, as Jesus said, with joy, love, and happiness. We offer a way of life. We're not going to tell you how to live. You're going to come to classes. You're going to get examples of how it is you might want to pray, and you get to choose. I hope you pray, but I'm not going to be standing over you, nor is anybody on our board or any of our other teachers. We're just going to give you the tools to live a great life. Unshackled from fear and lack. Would that be all right? Would it okay to never be afraid again until you are? And then you go, oh, wait a minute, I'm afraid. What am I afraid about? What am I afraid about? And we go forward. Every time we have one of those thoughts, if we notice that and we become what we would call a witness self to, look at me, I'm having these thoughts, but wait a minute, I'm a child of God. How can I have these thoughts? And you breathe into it. Breathe into it. So rather, we get to understand that because we are made in the image and likeness of God, we have infinite possibilities. And not just because we come to unity. Everybody has them, no matter where they go to church on Sunday. If they don't go to church on Sunday, doesn't matter, because I'm not the boss of anybody else. I'm the boss of me. You're the boss of you. You're the boss of you, you're the boss of you, and your mom's also sometimes the boss of you. When you get old enough, you can be the boss of you, but in the meantime, watch how your mom helps you understand that about yourselves. Yes? Have people you can check with. Check with the prayer chaplain. Say, I just need some help. I've got this great joy or I have this great sadness. Okay, be real. Get in touch with your feelings and then understand how it is you're going to deal with them. So as we do the necessary work, the work, which is what last weekend was called, the work. And it was a journey within. And so it was me literally breaking open my chest, getting out my heart, getting from my head to my heart and say, what's happening with you? How are you dealing with life? Who do you need to be grateful for? I got to say goodbye to people I didn't get to say goodbye to. Things like that. So great inner work. If you keep living it. I've done it before, and that's how I live every day, to try to figure out how can I be the best Therese. Do I fail? Yes. Do I rise? Yes. Do I fail? Yes. And that's the cycle of life, right? And every time I fail, it's a little bit shorter time between the time, oh, this isn't right, to, oh, wait a minute, let me change my mind. Kind of like I could have had a V8. I could have a new thought. Do that to yourself, say, let's do this all together. Hand on your forehead. I could have had a new thought. You do the other hand on the other side. I could have saw it differently. I can see this differently. Commercials have an impact on us, don't they? Right? So our elder brother, Jesus, said to the woman who touched his hem in the story, where she sought him out in the crowd, he said, your faith has made you whole. That's what today's about. When all those people came over to have us start the United States of America, guess what? They all were escaping religious persecution. They could not honor the God of their own understanding. So they came here, and that's why we've got to be doing that continually today. Let our faith make us whole. And I find, I don't know, maybe you don't, but I do, that sometimes I practice the presence of God. And then there's lots of times where I practice the absence of God. Yes? Like you feel alone, You're down, it's raining, oh, it's so sunny. Is it gonna be hot all summer? Well, that's a question, you don't probably need a lot of help with. It's summer and it's South Carolina. It's gonna be hot, right? But everything else that goes on in your life, are you stopping in the moment when you have the emotion arise that may unsettle you or settle you down, and understand, is God with me or have I moved from God? Because we're the ones who move, right? We've talked about that. So if we commit ourselves to a life of freedom from the thoughts that no longer serve us, every day make time to have time with God, the God of your understanding, whatever that is. Yesterday, my grandsons were so excited because I actually had an hour before they got there. So I made some homemade cookies. Homemade meaning I pulled them out of the freezer. It's all relative. They thought they were homemade. They came out of the oven, right? So Betty Crocker and I are like this, in Pillsbury or whoever it was. So they came, they were chocolate kisses on the peanut butter cookies, which I know they love. And they were so excited about it. All it took was a minute. I did prepare. I wasn't going to give them the cookies. I was going to bake them for the neighbor who just had a baby boy. So I shared some with the kids first. And they were so excited that Nana would make cookies. Everybody else was amazed that I could make the cookies. So are you taking time to experience your freedom? Freedom from the things that are weighing you down. We've had lots of life situations. It's only June, and well, it's actually July now, and lots has happened this year already for us, right? It's gonna be a great month, and why do we know? Because it's my birthday month, right? So I'm already gonna give you a gift today, but we get to change our minds, and we get to understand, okay, this too shall pass. This too shall pass, whatever it is. Every day it's supposed to rain. When you look on your little weather thing for Bluffton, it says, it has a big cloud and then lightning coming down. Well, it hasn't rained yet today. Yesterday there was time for sun. So we get to be grateful. Are you spending time every day counting your blessings? The story goes that what if you only got tomorrow what you were grateful for today? What would go on your list? Dark chocolate would be on mine, right? But what else? Who else would be on your list? So we get to manifest a life based on our faith, knowing that, as the song said, we are held and we are safe. Doesn't mean we're not going to practice some practices here to be safe should somebody else decide that they don't want us to be, right? That's okay. But we don't live in the fearful parts of that. We're mindful. I still lock my car everywhere I go. People are like, in South Carolina, I'm like, you know what? I'm a Chicago girl. I lock my car. It's just what I do. And it's okay. It makes me feel safe to do that. So we get to have a Declaration of Independence today. For ourselves. You might go home and write one. I don't know. See what your afternoon says. But we get to declare independence from things, ways, attitudes, actions that no longer serve us. I bet you we could start a list, yes? The chains that bind us to the life that we have here versus the life we might want are all in our minds. All in our minds. And we then accept, well, you know what, that's how it is. And then the shoulders drop. And we accept self-limitation. No. Jim got up and walked out of that room on Monday and texted me and said, I'm out of the hospital already. I was like, what? Wait, don't you have to, because I'm caught in what they're supposed to do at the hospital before they, let somebody go, right? So we get caught up in what we think we're supposed to know versus what's actually happening, right? So Eric Butterworth says, freedom is our inheritance and our responsibility is to, quote unquote, stir up the gift of God and get our faith lifted. So I want you to turn to your neighbor and say, I'm going to stir up the gift of God within me. Within me. Turn around, say it to somebody else. I'm going to stir up the gift of God within me. Emerson says, nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. And that's why I say when we say our affirmation, let's say it with gusto. with our playground voices so that we can get excited about things. Each of us is born with enthusiasm. This is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Fillmore says, it is the spark of celestial fire within us, at the core of our being. The apathetic life, he says, simply has the flame turned down, like a dimmer switch, right? So if you need help, find a friend, get your switch turned up. And we get to do that anytime we want. However, you might say, oh, come on, Therese, you don't know what's going on in my life. There's no room for enthusiasm. Well, I invite you to change your mind. Fillmore says, enthusiasm is not a fallacy. It's not a response. It's a cause. Think about it. An enthusiastic person does not act in a certain way because things are going well. Things go well because the person is acting enthusiastic. That was my growing edge when I was in seminary. And Sky St. John, who's with God now, pulled me aside and he said, so come on in here, we need to have a little talk. Your enthusiasm is too much for everybody here. I said, I probably swore. Don't swear. I probably swore and said, what are you talking about? And he said, seriously, this is an actual conversation, my second year in seminary. And he said, so what I want you to do is just bring in your butterfly wings. Try not to be so enthusiastic until you graduate. Well, we weren't talking a day. I still had a good 6 or 8 months to go. And all will be well. How sad. Isn't that kind of sad? I think it's sad. I still was who I was, obviously. I still keep getting myself into trouble and all of those things. But I cannot not be enthusiastic based on everything in my life. Based on everything that's happened in my life. Because I believe I am a great person. And so this is what happens. I claim my interdependence. Do I have ups and downs? Absolutely. Ask Marie, ask Theta, right? They're the ones that get the phone calls like, oh, okay? However, underneath it all is the truth. I am a child of God, and I am going to declare that I am independent from any of those thoughts that don't serve me anymore. And how do I know? Because they're not serving me. That's the work by Byron Katie. If it's real, it's real. If it's not, quit making it up. It's pretty simple. It's not always easy, right? So today we get to decree, we get to declare that our thoughts and actions will be ones that increase our freedom or our happiness, or we're not going to have them. So if one of y'all are talking to each other and they're having a moment of not freedom or not a good thought, you can say, I might need to get you a little firecracker. Or how about we change that and relanguage it, right? And take a moment to get from our head to our heart and know what we're grateful for. So what I say every morning is I believe in God and I know that God is with me. I say that when I'm driving in the car on 278 and everybody's driving 40 and I want to drive 50, right? I say it in the 10 lane and everybody has more light items than that. On the airplane, when it's acting up, whatever. When I'm with people that they're on my last nerve, right? I just say this to myself, decreeing my independence and declaration that they cannot affect me. I affect me because I'm allowing them to affect me. It's pretty simple, everybody. And again, not always easy. So no matter what faces us, no matter the diagnosis, no matter the bills that come in, no matter the housing situation, the relationship situation, you go to your restaurant and they don't have your favorite food, get over it, right? Get over it and say, whoa, wait a minute. Why am I allowing it to so affect me? We get to let go of our past. I'm talking to myself. Because if we give consent to be bound to anything that happened less than this morning, guess what? We have an inability that gets generated within us that we aren't able to forgive and forget. And that's what we get to do. That's what we get to do. So I want you to say this. I'm going to say it first and then I want you to say it. Okay, God, I'm finally ready to give in to my highest good. So we're going to say it just kind of bland like that at first. Okay, God, I'm finally ready to give in to my highest good. Well, that sounds great, doesn't it? So let's do it with some enthusiasm. Okay, God, I finally am ready to give in to my highest good. Right? So the brothers don't have to let the brothers be what's wrong with them, right? That's what I said to my 2 grandsons yesterday, because after like 20 minutes, then they're all about, getting on each other. And I'm like, you're with Nana. We don't do that with Nana. They're like, yeah, I know, but we're doing it, Right? So I don't have that much influence, right? And we don't have to allow anything to disturb our peace. Because we're not going to see peace in the world. We're not going to see peace, let's bring it more local. We're not going to see peace in Bluffton until we're peaceful. Inside, with every reaction, I hope you change that to a response and we get to be peaceful. And we get to do it now. 1 John tells us in chapter 3, verse 2, Beloved, we are God's children now. Not in a future day, not when we grow up, not after we lose 10 pounds, not after we stop this, or we don't do that, or we do this, or we do that. No. There's never a contingency with God. It's always in the moment. Always the moment we decide to make the decision that it's true. Freedom is the result of finding our oneness with God. So I hope that's your practice every day when you come in. Remember the Declaration of Independence, and let's say our affirmation that we say always in the beginning together. I am alive, awake, alert, joyous, and enthusiastic about my life. And let's sing the last verse of the song. I'm not afraid. Sing it with the word today. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today, today. Deep in my heart, I do believe we are not afraid today. And so I invite you to close your outer eyes as we continue in a mode of contemplation, of understanding, as Penny plays some music to get our hearts stirring with rhythm, of knowing that it's always a choice. And for those of you at home, take a moment and breathe into this current moment. And know every time that we make the decision to be independent from, to release and let go, all that no longer serves us. We let go the fear. We are not afraid, and peace becomes then our truth. Every time we take a moment to honor the very presence of God as ourselves, in, through, and as us, we experience peace. And every time we demonstrate letting go our fear, we offer every other person in our life the opportunity to be liberated from their fear. And so to yourself, say, I declare independence from all that no longer serves me. We know that it's as simple as that, and we also know it's not always easy. And that's why there's prayer chaplains, text messages, emails, and quiet. That helps us get centered into remembering the truth of who each of us is. Filled with enthusiasm, sparkling like a sparkler, and full of joy and happiness when we choose those thoughts. As each of us accepts ourselves, we are freed from the burden of needing another to accept us. And so we breathe into that knowledge and the truth of owning all that we are about. Each time I accept myself, I am freed from the burden of needing you to accept me. This is the basis for a relationship with God and yourself, and not anyone else, unless they serve to celebrate you. That every day is your birthday, or every day is Christmas, or every day is 4th of July. And if it isn't another in your life that you do that with, do it for yourself. Accept your truth, born in the image and after the likeness of all that is great and good, that in unity we call God. And as we go into the silence and we allow this awesomeness to surround us, we take a moment and say thank you in the silence. We decree and we declare that the power of God is with us right here and right now. We decree and declare that each of us are blessed by peace, security, strength, and wisdom in making decisions, in sorting out thoughts. And we breathe into the knowing that our minds are at ease because God is. We declare our freedom. We choose happiness. And we say thank you. We are grateful. So I invite you to bring your attention back to this time and this place and these sacred and holy grounds that we call Unity Spiritual Center, Hilton Head. And we say thank you for a holiday that reminds us of the truth, that it is ours to declare our freedom, to live our freedom, and to honor the freedom of all of those walking on this earth at this time. And so it is. We honor unity and the inclusivity and the diversity and the welcoming that we are and that we will be today and every day. And so it is. We say thank you, God. Amen. Let us stay in this time of thoughtfulness and